couple of regulars. I'll start with Raymondo. Good evening, Ray.
Evening, gents. Evening, lads.
And then we've got B-side, as I described earlier. Andy, how you going, Andy?
I'm starting to get a bit of a complex.
Well, I could go further than that, Andy, to be honest, but I thought I'd stick at B. I know Paul Smith agreed, but anyway, moving on. Obviously, we just come off an interview with Paul Smith Jr. I'll probably drop tomorrow night, but I think that leads us nicely into the Liverpool DAZN card that we're going to review. So the way we're going to do this is, guys, we're going to go through the card, the televised card, I might add, and then I'll come to each one of you for a breakdown, and then we'll work our way through the card. So, Ray, I'll come to you first. So the first televised fight is going to be Willis versus Charlton. So 10 rounds, super lightweight. What are your thoughts?
I think this is a great fight. Although I think all the fights on the card are cracking, I'm intrigued by this fight to see how Ryland Charlton responds to coming down in weight. He says it's going to suit him. He says he feels stronger, fitter. He has got good power, let's be honest. He troubled Marco at welterweight. We all know he got a great win against Joe Laws. Just how good that win against...
Harper agrees.
Yeah, just how good that win against Joe Laws was. We'll have to see, because we know how good Joe Laws really is. But what I think is, I'm looking forward to is Luke Willis, because he's a back foot boxer, and I think Ryland Charlton could actually bring the best out of him, because he could just stand and pick him off all night. Ryland Charlton has to show to me he's learned from the Marco fight that he can actually cut the ring off a bit better. He doesn't just follow his opponent looking for the one. If he's learned from that, hopefully from the education he did have in that short time with Carl Greaves, this could be a really interesting fight. Obviously, he's not going to have Carl Greaves in his corner, and I think that's a big blow. Had Carl Greaves been there, I would have, you could lean towards Charlton, because Greaves would have had him, modelled him off Avanesian, because Avanesian's terrific at cutting off the ring. But it just depends how well Luke Willis box off the back foot, because he could be the kryptonite to Charlton.
Yeah. Carl Greaves due to be on the show next week, by the way, little plug there. So, Andy, over to you. So, what are your thoughts regarding Willis versus Charlton?
Very similar to Ray in that when Carl Greaves was in Ryland Charlton's corner, I edged the fight to Ryland Charlton, because I really rate Carl Greaves as a trainer. I think this could be a long night for Ryland Charlton. I think he could end up getting very frustrated. It's a very difficult time for him, really, because I don't know who he's got in to work his corner. He's perhaps gone back to his old coach from before he went to Carl Greaves. I don't know, but yeah, a bit of an odd one. He's leaving himself in a bit of a difficult position on a really big stage. This is where he should have been shining. So yeah, strange, very strange. I've got a feeling Ryland Charlton's going to end up losing this fight on points.
Ray, did you give us a prediction in your little spiel?
No, I didn't. I didn't in my speech there. You probably would have got a better one from Harper.
Get back on the show, mate.
I'll probably have to see. I agree with Andy. I think the fact that he hasn't got Carl Greaves in his corner, the fact that he's up against a more polished boxer than Marco, we haven't seen him. We've seen how well he does when somebody walks forward to him. So I'm probably going to go with Luke Willis. I'm going to go for points.
All right, you, Carl.
Yeah, so not often we all agree on here, isn't it? And it's a bit boring viewing, but I do think it's going to go to points, this one. I agree. I think it'll be a bit of a chess match for a good few rounds while they have a look at each other. I think Willis is going to beat Charlton in this one. I agree. I think Charlton's at a bit of a crossroads, isn't it? Never easy when you come from one trainer to another and try and work out in such a short time. he's obviously got his reasons for coming away from Carl Greaves' gym, but you could argue that Carl Greaves is one of the hottest prospects in the UK at the minute in terms of training. So, you must have a damn good reason for leaving him. From what I've been told, there's no bad blood there. It's just one of them things. So yeah, I'm going Willis on points. Yeah. So next fight then will be Shannon Courtney versus Mitchell. So Mitchell's come over from the States, bit of amateur pedigree there. Very, very confident from the press conference today. This is for the WBA title, bantamweight. It's over 10 rounds. And give us your thoughts.
Don't know a lot about Jamie Mitchell, if I'm honest. Shannon Courtney's had a long layoff. And she hasn't fought since she won the title. She got injured. She was meant to fight on
Fight camp.
Fight camp, yeah.
Yeah.
She got injured, so it didn't happen. She looks in good shape though. She looks fit. She looks sharp on the pads. I've seen a bit of workout. She looks quite good, but I'll be quite honest. I don't know a lot about Jamie Mitchell, so difficult for me to judge on this, if I'm honest.
What's your gut feeling, Ander? We don't do splinters.
No, I know. I expect it to be a bit of a tear up. That's how Shannon Courtney fights. She gets it quite a bit, but she's a tough kid. So I'm going to go Courtney on points.
Ray?
I think Courtney's got between her teeth. I think she feels she's got a massive chip on her shoulder because all we want to talk to her about is Annie Bridges and Rachel Ball. And I think she wants to prove that she's the best out of the lot. I think she's probably looking, not necessarily looking past this fight as in underestimating her opponents, but thinking she wants that rematch with Rachel Ball to settle that score. She's, by all accounts, she's had a good camp. She's had good sparring. She's shown some gradual improvement, and she really wants this. A bit like Annie, I'm not too familiar with her opponent, not for her opponent's strengths. But my thing with Shannon Courtney is if she comes against somebody who in jab, box, move, she will have trouble because that's her style. Doesn't allow her to come off favourably in that fight. But Shannon can dig, and she's showing that she can adapt to the obvious weaknesses that she's got. Her footwork's improving. She's not as flat-footed. So I like the improvements that I'm seeing in her. So I'm confident that Shannon can win this on points.
I mean, she showed, didn't she, in the Bridges fight? I mean, there was times in that fight I thought she was flagging. I thought she gassed, but she dug in, got that second wind, and come back really strong at the end.
Yeah, and that just goes down to her conditioning. I think she's getting. I think she's as she's getting more confident in adapting to the pro ranks. I think that's starting to come out, and I think she'll carry that into this fight.
Yeah, I'm not overly impressed with Shannon Courtney. I'm going to be honest with you. I think she's an accident waiting to happen, and I think this might be the fight. So I'm going to go against you two on this one. I've been giving it some thought. I'm going to go for Mitchell to beat Courtney. I think she's.
Do you think she's overrated, Carl?
Yeah, I don't. I've never had particularly. If you watch the shows back, I've never particularly rated her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't particularly rate her, and also she doesn't really endear herself to the boxing public. I don't know why that is. I think it's the old demeanour around her. So I just think I don't know too much about Mitchell, but I just think she's got a mistake in her, Courtney has. And I think this might be the fight. The bits I do know about Mitchell is she's got a very strong amateur pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
So and you can read a lot in press conferences, can't you? She just seemed very confident, very comfortable in herself, and I just think it might be her time. And
so we've had a comment in the sidebar, lads.
Yeah, that's Joel.
JG's fight talk. He says, "I would love to see Courtney lose." Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? I'm guessing you're going to say that Courtney's got a bit of a chip on her shoulder and a bit of attitude. I think that's a bit of a front from Courtney, if I'm honest, the way she portrays herself on camera. I think she's a little bit shy, and I think that's a front. I don't think that's a actual persona. I don't know what you think.
And also, JG's fight talk. Obviously, we talked about you coming on camera. I'm happy to post a link if you do want to come on. Just post a comment. You're more than welcome as we work our way through the card. So, boys, that's my prediction. That's where we are. So, coming up next. Now, I know, Ray, you're looking forward to this one, aren't you? Cheeseman versus Williamson.
Yeah.
12-round super welter.
Yeah.
So, Ray, I'll let you take this one away.
Yeah, this is going to be an absolute. This is going to be a barnstorm. I wouldn't be surprised if this is fight of the night. Cheeseman, I feel sorry for him. He beat somebody at domestic level, and then when he thinks he's going to get a European or a world title eliminator, he gets stuck with another 50-50 tough fight. And this is it. Troy Williamson's no mug. He's no joke. He's tough as they come. However, I'm going to go for Cheeseman in this fight. I know I'm going against somebody from my neck of the woods, but Cheeseman, I'm not Cheeseman's biggest fan at all, but Cheeseman's shown more aspects in his arsenal. What I mean by that is he has shown he can box and he has shown he can fight toe-to-toe. Williamson in his last fight, although he got a great win late on, got that good knockout. My issue is he does allow himself to get out box and he's often trailing, and then he's got to work himself back into fights later on. Against Cheeseman will run away with that. Cheeseman against Fitzgerald showed that he could box. Fitzgerald just knew how to box better. Against Garcia, he was completely outboxed. There's no doubt about that. But Cheeseman, I've said it before, he does block punches with his face, but which he does. To be fair, his defense has been horrific, but he has learned from that a little bit, and he can show that he can get behind his jab better than what Williamson can, and I think that's going to be the key. They're both equal in terms of inside fighting, the ability to target the body, but Cheeseman, in comparison, is the better boxer, so I would lean towards Cheeseman. I don't think Cheeseman will stop Williamson, because Williamson's just tough as the cut for points. Cheeseman.
Ray, let me just jump in there. Is this a type of fight where neither boxer can afford to lose?
Well, Cheeseman will lose. Williamson probably can. Cheeseman can't, because I think Cheeseman, it's he's. If he loses this, people are just going to say, well, that's it. He's British level, and that is his level. Williamson can come again. I mean, an example of that is JJ Metcalf. He lost, didn't he, to Cheeseman, and he's come back again, and he's in a decent fight. So I would say no to that one. But yes, for Cheeseman, if that makes sense, because if Cheeseman lost this one, there'd be more question marks on Cheeseman and his future than a Williamson, because Williamson's first defeat.
Yep. Cheers, Ray. Andy, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I don't rate Cheeseman one little bit.
I wish you'd sit on the fence. So how's it go?
This is what I expect to happen. It'll be a slugfest. The one thing you can say about Cheeseman is he grinds it out. He's a tough cooker. But he's been very, very, very lucky in a couple of his fights. I've had him losing a couple of fights.
Like the Egerton fight.
He definitely lost the Egerton fight. But That's just the way boxing goes, isn't it? And for me, his position at the minute is higher than his quality. I think he'll probably scrape through this fight, but it'll be a very close points. And it wouldn't surprise me if we come on next week and go, I think he lost. And he actually got, the call. It'd be one of them, mate. It'll be very close.
So, Andy, let me just cut you off for a minute because obviously we've got a guest join. How you going, Joel?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
Yeah, sound fella. So thanks for joining.
Sorry, I'm late.
No, you're okay. We'll come to you at this stage. We're just talking about Cheeseman versus Williamson. What are your thoughts on the fight and who's gonna have their arm lifted, Joel?
I spoke to Troy on Tuesday, and he's well game for this fight. He's so game for it. I asked him if he thought there was anything that Cheeseman could throw at him that he had to worry about. And he basically said there's no worries at all. There's nothing he can do that's going to bother him in the slightest. He's that come forward fighter. You know what you're going to get from Cheeseman, don't you? That guy that comes forward, he sticks his head out, he's got his chin in the air, he's very, aggressive, come forward fighter, not afraid to get blooded. He gets stuck in there. And Troy's
takes one to give one, don't it?
Yeah. And Troy's very calculated with his approach. He's very good behind the jab. I kind of came away from it thinking I actually starting to believe Troy here now. And I'm a big fan of Ted Cheeseman. I love the way he fights. He's never in a boring fight, is he? No. Apart from when he went for the European title, it wasn't the greatest show. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I think it could be fight of the night.
So, what's your prediction then, Joel?
I knew you were going to say that.
We don't do sprinters on here, Joel. Come on, give it, man.
That's the thing. I say that on my show, and then I do it myself. I'm going Troy Williamson.
Yeah, there's another part to that in there. So yeah, you fancy Troy, but how's it going to happen then? Is it a round or points? Come on, Joel, work with
that. I think he'll do it on points.
Interesting.
Which is very tough because obviously Cheeseman's sort of the home fighter. I totally get that, and the way things have been going recently, it's kind of been edging that way. Even though I don't like feeling that way. I think I'm going Troy Williamson points.
Andy, you didn't get a chance to give us a prediction, did you?
Yeah, I said I think Cheeseman's going to sneak it on points, but we're going to come away thinking he lost on points.
Yeah, well, I think Cheeseman's going to stop him. Yeah. I do, and I think he's going to stop him round 10.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Big statement.
Yeah, I think Williams will be at his depth in this fight. I think it's all about level. So Joel, don't feed that back to him, but I think it might be. Around.
I'll text him.
Yeah.
Straight after.
Well, just send him the link. So next fight on the card, Conway versus Metcalf. So Joel, because you're fresh onto the channel, we'll let you kick this one off. Break this down for us.
Well, like I said, the last fight we just spoke about, potentially fight of the night, but also this one has got a cracker written all over it, isn't it?
Yeah.
To me, this card, this Liverpool card is great from top to bottom, and this is another one that's just gonna give us entertainment, isn't it? I'm gonna dive straight in. And I'm going to say Conway to win by knockout.
Interesting. Ray, do you want to go next?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a classic boxer against a fighter. GJ Metcalf will be the come forward fighter. Conway will obviously be the boxer. The biggest obvious thing for Conway for me is he's not a puncher. Nice skills, not a banger. Metcalf, hard as nails. He's a great inside fighter. He gave Ted Cheeseman a hell of a fight. In fact, at one point he wobbled Ted Cheeseman, and I thought he was gonna stop Cheeseman. But unfortunately, he got stopped himself, and that was probably a fight of the year candidate. I rate JJ Metcalf. I was a little bit, I wasn't impressed with Conway in his last fight against Sissoko, and he's never really been one that I thought this kid's a good fighter. I'm going to go for Metcalf on this. I think Metcalf will just be too strong for him, too strong physically. I think he'll tie him up, break him down. I think he'll target his body. I think he'll bully him. So I think Metcalf will stop him.
And Ander, do you want to give your breakdown?
Yeah, I like JJ Metcalf. I think he was unlucky against Cheeseman. Am I right in thinking that he'd had quite a long layoff before that Cheeseman fight? You know, Ray?
Say that again, sorry?
Metcalf, before the Cheeseman fight, had he had a bit of a layoff?
Yeah, he had, yeah.
I think that obviously didn't help him late on in that fight. I like Metcalf a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Metcalf stops him late on.
Metcalf late on.
What do you go for, Carl?
I think Conway's going to beat him.
Yeah, as well?
Yeah.
You go for the points or stoppage?
Well, there's clearly only two people who know the boxing on here.
Yeah, and that's me and Ray.
I just think Conway will be up for it. He looked up for it today. I think he'll beat him. I think he'll. I agree with Joe. I think he knocks him out. I think Conway. He went to America, didn't he? Put a good show on over there as well. So I think he's underrated.
I think it'll be a late stoppage. I think he'll break him down over the rounds, and I think it'll be a late stoppage to Conway.
All right, Joel. I thought it was me giving my prediction here, fella.
Sorry, mate.
I'm only joking with you.
Sometimes I need to realise it's not my show.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that. It's not your gig now, fella. So I'm going round 8. I think Conway will beat him. I don't think he's as good as you two are trying to make out Metcalf. I think he's limited. So I'm going Conway. There you go. It's good this week because we're not agreeing, are we? So
apart from the first one.
Then it brings on to the main event, which is, I can't wait to watch this fight.
Oh, yeah.
So, Joel, because of your outrageous behaviour, I'm going to leave you to last. So, we'll start with Ray.
I'm still surprised from this fight. I just think you mentioned the phrase before, levels. I'm expecting to see a great performance from Liam Smith. I'm expecting him to absolutely tear through Fowler. I mentioned before about inside fighting. Liam Smith, for me, is Britain's best inside fighter. Liam Smith's very underrated. Fowler has a good jab, he has a good backhand, and he's got a half-decent uppercut, but his footwork's poor. His head movement's even worse. That's going to play into Liam Smith's hands. Liam Smith, I think Fowler will be competitive early on. It's a derby. He's going to want to give a good account for himself. It's going to be quite edgy. They're both going to be quite nervous. They're not going to want to give too much away. But I just think Liam Smith is better than Fowler in every single department, and that'll show on the night. And I think Liam Smith will end up stopping Fowler.
And
so, like Cole said at the top of the show, we had an interview with Paul Smith earlier on tonight, which will be dropping tomorrow, Cole.
Yeah, good work, Joel, isn't it? And good work to get Paul Smith Jr. on. What do you think of that one, Joel? Not that it's a competition, obviously.
No, honestly, mate, I just love the coverage of boxing at the moment. I think it's
great, isn't it?
I think it's quality, and I think the more people that do it, the the better we get boxing as being the top sport, because that's where it should be.
Agreed.
So, Andy, I'll let you continue on the great interview that we had with Paul Smith earlier. Carry on.
Yeah, no, it's great stuff. Paul's very insightful, and he wasn't being biased because of his brother either. He's a very honest character, and he broke it down quite well. But I'll leave you to watch the interview to let you know exactly what was said. But in my opinion, it's all about levels. That gets used a lot in boxing, don't it? It's a very cliche term, but Liam's been at much higher level than this. I understand why the Fowler camp have pushed for this fight. I understand why they're taking it. He's knocking on now. He's what, 32 or so?
Yeah, he's heading that way.
He's not progressed. If anything, in my opinion, since the golden amateur days when he was looking like the next best thing, he's regressed. He relies way too much on his straight punches, way too much on his jab. He has no movement. His footwork's terrible, and he doesn't like it put on him. He doesn't like it in the trenches. He's what I'd call a bully fighter. He looks good when he's on top. He looks good when he's beating up somebody. But as soon as he's put on him, he don't like it, and he ends up shrinking into his shell a little bit. And that's exactly what's going to happen. I can see him maybe being up early on in the fight. He might win the first few rounds with his jab, but Liam Smith will break him down. He'll get to the body because you don't cover his body very well, Fowler. He'll get to the body, and it will end up stopping him. And I think he'll stop him round 7.
Round 7.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet. So I think Fowler's got no business being in that ring with Liam Smith. So Liam Smith's going to stop him. I'm going a little bit later than you, Andy. I think it might be round 8. I've been thinking about 8. So I'm going to go round 8, Liam Smith stoppage. And then hopefully Liam starts to get the fights that he deserves, to be brutally honest with you, at world level.
That's the real shocker here. It's the real kicker for me, and I think it's the only reason that Liam's taken the fight. Is Matchroom have not done the job with him. They've not promoted him the way he should be promoted. Yep. He got thrown to the wolves in Russia, won the fight, and got ripped off on the cards.
Well, let's have it right, Andy. If they could have got Kurbanov over to Liverpool, which Eddie couldn't manage to get him over, and if he didn't have to isolate when he got to Australia to fight Tszyu, this fight wouldn't be happening. So,
I don't understand this. I can't get him over to England. I can't get him over to Liverpool. You either back a fighter or you don't. And if you're not going to back him, don't promote him. That's the way I see it. Because apparently they've got all this money. Matchroom have got all this money. That's the reason Eddie Hearn's gone there. Back your fighter. Pay Kurbanov exactly what he wants. Because he shouldn't have that belt. It's very simple. It's not rocket science for me. Liam just hasn't been backed. And I think that's going back to my point. That's the reason he's took this fight. It's a bit of a liberty that they've even gone to him and said, "Do you want this fight with Fowler?"
Well, I'm a genuine believer that they never thought Smith would take this fight. I'm a genuine believer that they didn't think he would take this fight because he mentioned that in the presser today.
I would agree with that, Carl. I think they thought Smith would spew it, but
and then they could use his name a little bit and maybe get him a high-profile fight. So when Smith turned around and accepted the fight, I'd imagine that his arse fell through a little bit.
Yeah. I would agree.
So, yeah, I think we're all in agreement. Joel, did you give it? I'm losing that.
I wasn't said yet.
Yeah, I've had a few IT issues. Joel, talk to me about Smith versus Fowler, and don't tell me you're going to go for Fowler, please.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Hold on a minute.
Absolute goal.
Hold on. Where's that kick the fucker off the channel button? No, go on, Joel. Over to you, fella.
Yeah,
That's very interesting. Thank you for your point of view. Let's move on now.
Yeah, like you say, it's kind of one of those fights. It's one-way traffic, isn't it? And is there any way Fowler can win this fight? No, there isn't. You know, Liam Smith's technically better. He's tougher. He's been in the bigger fights, and like you say, you know, this fight shouldn't really be happening. But you know, Eddie Hearn sort of, like you said, he called his bluff. You know, they both said it, haven't they? It literally was a phone call, and he said, "Look, you know, if Fowler's interested," and he said, "Oh, Fowler wouldn't be interested," and they basically, bang, here's the fight. Yeah, I think Liam just wears him down. He'll just break him down, and he can win it however he really wants to win it.
Yeah,
I think it's literally one of those fights. It's so one-sided. Personally, I like Fowler. There's parts of him that I do like. I like that tenacious approach that he used to bring. But now we're gonna like they were saying, it is levels. And I know, like we were saying, it is that cliche thing to say, but there are levels in boxing.
Oh yeah, without
Anthony Fowler's about to find his level. Yeah, and it's not with Liam Smith.
Yeah,
Kieran, Joel, even I worry a bit. I worry a bit for Fowler because he looked spiteful today, didn't he, Liam? In that press conference, he looked bang up for it.
Yeah.
So it might even go earlier. It depends if Fowler can handle the heat, Joel, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a breakdown. I think he'll break him down. And like you were saying, around that sort of round 7, round 8, I think, you know, if you break the engine of someone and break the spirit of someone, I think then they run out and they become a bit, you know, he can become a bit scatty, can't he? And I think Liam will just take him, work the body, and he'll take him out.
So Mike, I can see you joined us. Joel, this is Mike from Canada, who's a bit of a regular on the show. He looks like he's frozen a little bit though. He's taking a very long drink.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, so Mike, we just finished off Smith versus Fowler. So let's get your thoughts on it from a North American perspective.
Fowler all the way.
Whoa.
No.
You know what though, Mike? Do you see how I wasn't surprised?
No. I saw the look in everybody's face as soon as I said that, man. You guys were like shocked. You were shocked and on. You were like, what?
We can't see your face, Mike.
Honestly, no, man. Liam Smith. I talked about this right after Fowler won his last fight, and they said that this was going to be the battle. No, this ain't the battle. Fowler doesn't have anything for him, man. Smith's going to take it all the way.
So, do you want to actually make a prediction, Mike, rather than give us some sound bites?
All right. Let's go. 4th round. It's finished. Knock
off. Wow, that is early.
Yeah. I think it's fourth. I think it's 4th. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't think Fowler just doesn't have the parts, man. He doesn't have the parts to stand in the ring with him, man. I saw that in the last fight that I watched with Fowler. I was like, I can't even believe this fight is going to happen. They were calling it, what they call it, the battle of. Oh, I can't even remember. And I laughed, and I'm pretty sure I called you, Carl, right after that, and I was like, can you hear this crap?
Yeah, I don't often take your calls though, so I won't remember that one.
Either that or you had a few too many, eh?
I can't remember that one either. So it must have been a good call, Mike. That's all I can.
Yeah, it was. It was a great call.
So on
Andy,
that
how
note,
are you doing, man? It's been a long time, guys. Ray, how are you doing?
Yeah, you're right, pal. Yeah, you're right.
On that note, I think we better move on to the Fury card quickly. So we're going to take this fight by fight, guys. So I'm going to let Joel take the first one. Joel, Jared, obviously, Baby Anderson.
Yep.
Versus, I'll just call him Vlad. if you see his surname, you'll see why. So Jared Anderson Vladimir.
Vladimir Tereshkin.
Yep, I'll have 2, please, Mike. But no, yeah.
I already had 4. Don't worry.
So Joel, obviously, Jared is flattered to deceive a little bit, anti-old Big Baby. So I don't know much about his opponent. You know, if I'm brutally honest, looks like a bit of a gimme fight. But just give me your thoughts.
I think it's just another one to add on to his list, isn't it? You know that it seems to be the way in American boxing. It's kind of one of those down the card they add on, and then he moves on to the next one, and they keep totaling up the fights until someone sees value in him.
How far do you think he can go in the heavyweight division?
In my opinion, there's a lot of heavyweights similar that are doing all the, they're making all the noises and they're having the zero for a long length of time. Christopher Lovejoy comes to mind.
Yeah.
I think we'll see as time goes on where he's going to be. We look at Martin, for example. He's now starting to look like he could be sort of making some sort of progress, and it took being knocked out by Joshua to do it. So we shall see.
Yeah, fair enough.
Time will tell with these fighters, really.
Yeah. Ray?
Isn't this the guy that allegedly caused Fury problems in sparring?
Yeah.
For when he was training for the fight when it was supposed to be in August. Allegedly, I say. I don't think much of him. I know Americans are speaking about him, thinking he could be the next best thing, but I think that the guy in Eddie Reynoso's camp, is it Frank Sanchez?
Yeah, the Cuban.
I think he would dispatch of Big Baby. There's 2 Big Babies, isn't there? So I'll call this Big Baby clean Big Baby as opposed to the dirty Big Baby.
Allegedly, yeah.
But I don't. I'm not a big fan of him. He might. I don't necessarily believe the Fury camp. Sorry, the Fury that he battered Fury in sparring, and if he did, that probably because Fury may be quite lazy in sparring, and then puts it all in the ring on fight night. I wouldn't read too much into that. I just think that's coming off an agenda of some particular very pro Wilder fans, but compared to this fight, he should win this fight. Whether he wins on points or stoppage, I'm not too sure. The
problem we've got over in the UK is we don't really care, do we, about these lower end fights. And we've been
the thing is, because sometimes you might get some Americans saying that about us, our cards and things like that. I would just say that I just think sometimes the Americans blow too much smoke up fighters when they're absolutely bang average, and they've got quite padded records against all these type of gatekeepers, and I think he's just one of them. There's another guy who's going to be fighting Tank Davis soon called Rolando Romero, and I just think
I've seen
just another one.
You've been quite vocal about him on social media, haven't you?
Yeah. He's another one. So I think he'll win because his opponent is being matched for him, but I don't think anything of him.
Okay, fair enough. And
very similar to Ray. The problem is America is desperate to regain that power at heavyweight.
Yeah, massively.
So they blow, like Ray just said, and he said it's a great comment. They blow the smoke up all these fighters' arses. They put them in with people that will make them look good to hopefully engineer a position where they get a shot when they don't really deserve it. So he'll win this fight. He'll probably win by knockout, but do I see a future for him? Not really.
Well, it's quite interesting, Andy, wasn't it? When we asked Rick Glazer who he thought the next big American heavyweight was coming through the ranks, he struggled to answer, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So, So yeah, so comment in the sidebar. Sid UK just mentions that I last spell boxing. Loved your last video, Mr. Glazer. That's nice. Thank you very much, Sid UK. Much appreciated.
There's a few we've got on for with Rick Sid. So have a look down the list, mate. He's a very well educated fella. He brings a lot of good stuff.
And then Joel, thanks for joining us, fella. We knew you could only come on for a limited time. Thanks for having me on, lads. I had to go, but we'll be back on another time. Great show and people. Thank you very much, Joel.
Reese, I don't know if you can. You're still on, mate. If you are, do you want to jump on screen?
So, Mike, we've been round Andy and Ray. Do you want to give us your view? Because I know you keep an eye out on these unbeaten. Let's call them prospects for.
They are prospects. That's exactly what Jared Anderson is. You look at his resume. Yeah, he's 9-0 with 9 KOs, but who's he knocking out? You know what I mean? He's been fighting really nobodies. I guess the biggest name would have been Jeremiah Karpensi is probably the biggest name that he's fought so far. And this guy Vladimir, you know, he's no slouch. He's 22-0-1, but he's been the distance. Jared Big Baby Anderson has never been the distance. All of his fights have been finished, so I think we have yet to see the skill set of him because he is just a big power puncher knocking these guys out. He's going to win it. That's what I believe. I don't think that he's been truly tested yet to see how far he can go in this game because there are a lot of heavyweights out there that are now up and coming that are starting to come out of the woodworks. And, you know, the heavyweight game is a big game. It's a different game. You know, one punch can change everything. And, yeah, it's one of these guys. He's hit the blip on the radar, and it's just how big of a blip he can become. You know, he's just getting in there and he's demolishing people, but it's how talented are these people that he's demolishing, really.
Yeah.
The guy that he's fighting has, you know, twice the amount of ring time as him. So, you know, it's I guess this is truly a test for him.
He can bang a bit, Mike. He can bang a bit. He can bang a bit by the look of his record.
Oh, yeah, no, he can bang. Believe me. He comes out and he chefs up knockouts to people that, you know, maybe are not on his skill level yet. But, yeah, this guy's got double the ring time, so we're definitely going to see – we're going to see him be challenged. You know, he's got somebody who's been in the ring a lot longer than him, who might be able to lean on him a bit. You know, lean on him a bit and show him what it's like to enter those later rounds, and you know what it's like to go and get tired and start breathing heavy and have your game start, you know, being picked apart. Anderson hasn't felt that yet, so this will be a test. And you know what? He just got to get better competition in front of him, man. Like, you know, like everybody else. You know, you're going to get all these records that are, you know, kind of pillowed up and give me's and all this kind of stuff. Because when you do look at Anderson's record, you know, he's fighting guys that, you know, they're losing records or their records are just minuscule, you know, 5-10 fights maybe. So, you know, it's all a matter of time. I believe he'll win this one. I don't know how he's going to win it. I'd like to say knockout, but again, his opponent I don't really know too much about. But he's got lots of ring time, man. So it's just a matter of time. You know, Russian southpaw. He's sporting a 52% knockout average in his career. So we'll see what happens. If he gets brought the distance, it'll be a true test of Jared Big Baby Anderson because he hasn't gone anywhere yet close to that. So
I'll keep my prediction at the edited version. So I'm going to go Jared Anderson round 5 because I think he'll have, like I said, he's a player don't like much, and I think he's another American hype job where they'll throw him in with a lot of B-rated, a bit like Andy in presenting, B-rated personnel, build a padded record up and then look to get him a big fight. So moving on then, boys. So Adam Kwinacki versus Robert Ellinas. I quite like this fight. It's a rematch. So I will start with Andy on this one. Andy, obviously Elenius fought White, got beat. So obviously there's levels, but give us your breakdown on it.
Yeah, there is levels. White's at that top echelon though, isn't he? So can't really take a lot from that. I didn't see the first fight. I think I see an Elenius win here.
Oh.
Late stoppage.
Okay, you going to give us a round, or are you sticking at late stoppage?
We'll go round 10.
Okay. Ray, obviously, Koinaki has beat the world-class Charles Martin and Chris Ariola in the past. So give us your breakdown.
Helenius, he got that decision against Chisora, didn't he?
Yeah, that world-class fighter that you talk about, Chisora, yeah, he beat him.
Yeah, this is... again, it's not a particular fight that I'm anticipating, but I think it just depends on... It's hunger for this fight, where other ones who talk about skill, it's just hunger. I don't think these guys are going anywhere fast. Helenius he just may have that desire left. I think that's what will come down to in this fight. I think ability-wise, they're not a million miles away from each other. So I'm going to go for Helenius on points on this.
Mike, can we have the edited version this time, young man? So break it down for us, and who do you think is going to win?
You know what? Rematch. I think Helenius is going to come through. I think it's going to go the distance, and he'll win on points.
I'm going for Koinaki on this one. I think he's going to beat Helenius. I think he's slightly fresher of the two fighters, and I'm going round 6 by knockout.
Round 6 by knockout, eh? The Nordic Nightmare is going down.
So, moving on now, the next fight really does intrigue me. So the next fight is Frank Sanchez versus F.A. Ajagba. So,
that Nigerian,
hold
bro.
on a minute, Mike. Don't start getting excited. Let me finish my breakdown. So, obviously, Frank Sanchez, 18 wins, currently unbeaten. Ajagba, 15 wins, unbeaten, 12 knockouts. So, Mike, finish your drink, and what we'll do, I'll come to you first. But can we please have the edited version?
I think Ajagba is going to win that. I think he's going to win it by knockout. Say 6th round. That's what I think. He's also coming off that vicious knockout that's coming up for knockout of the year, runner up for knockout of the year. I don't know if you guys saw that. Man, he's got some power in those hands, and he can put people to sleep. I do like him. Those Nigerians are really starting to pop up on the radar there every once in a while, and he's definitely one of them.
Okay, brilliant. Ray, do you want to go next, fella?
So I'm going to go for Sanchez. Sanchez has got quite a nice array of skills. He reminds me a little bit of Mike Perez. All the skills in the world, but maybe the one thing missing. But I think Sanchez is going to probably have a bit too much for him. I think Sanchez will. I don't think there'll be stoppage in this fight. Funny enough, so I think Sanchez is going to go on points.
Oh, okay.
And do you want to give us your breakdown?
Yeah, I agree with Ray. Was that quick enough and short enough for you?
Yeah, you guys don't usually agree. That was crazy.
No. You got it wrong, Mike.
That never happens, right?
No, they always agree. They compare notes before the show goes on to make sure. So,
oh man, I miss you guys. How are you guys doing, man?
So I'm going to go Sanchez as well. I think Sanchez will stop him late. I'm going to go round 11. I think Ajagba's raw. I think he's got talent. I think he'll come again, but I just think he's at this stage.
No, it's not his time. Not his time.
No.
He does have that raw talent though, man, and he does have those heavy
power.
I do enjoy watching the guy, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm just trying to keep us to time, boys, because me and Andy's got a big interview at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
We're not going to name names, but we've got a big interview. So, next one's Fury versus Wilder, and a little main event that's coming up. I wish I was in Mike's time zone rather than our time zone for this one, but...
You're joining me, right? You're joining me Saturday?
Well, we'll see how we go. Depends on how many lemonades I've had.
Should I ship the case of Red Bull now?
Anyway, Andy, give us a breakdown, fella.
Wilder's well out of his depth here, as usual. I don't think he even believes himself. I don't think he even believes what he's saying now. It's got to that point. And I think it's dawned on him today in the presser. He was so far out of his depth. He's been, because he's had nothing to do with Fury, not had to look at him, not had to see him, not had to do anything with him. He's been putting all these magic videos out like he always does. And I think he actually started to make himself believe until today. And his arse has just fell out. So he's getting himself knocked the spark out in round 3.
Whoa.
I think embarrassing was the word you're looking for.
I'm just going to work my way around the screen on this one, guys. So, Ray, you're next up, fella.
It's although I'm confident in saying Fury, Wilder's right hand. It's because it's. Don't get me wrong, it is all he's got, but yeah. For me, it just depends on how seriously Fury's taking this, because there is that doubt that Fury could not be underestimating Wilder, but just think, I don't think he's been up for this fight. But I think the cheating and all that stuff is irked Fury. Fury's already shown, don't forget, lads, he can outbox him and then he can bully him. So I'm expecting Fury to beat him. I think Fury will play cute because of how dangerous Wilder can be. But I think Fury will comfortably win. I don't think he'll stop him this time because I think Wilder will be too cautious, too nervous, and he won't want to make that mistake again. But I expect him to push him back, win on points comfortably.
Reece?
Yeah, Reece, do you want to give your view?
Yeah, I think I agree with both my uncle and Ray, definitely. I think that press conference was embarrassing. Let's have it right. It was embarrassing. Fury didn't seem like he was going to go there until they pressed him and prodded him. And when he opened up, Wilder didn't know what to say. He looked like a deer in headlights. I'm going to go with a knockout, but I don't think it's going to be as quick as my uncle. I think it's probably round 6, a bit later on.
Can I change my prediction?
Oh, go on then.
Round 2.
Have some conviction. All right, so Mike, let's have a view from North America.
All right, first of all, it's going to the best dressed man, and that definitely had to be Fury, with that WBC full garb that he was wearing with shoes. Come on, that was you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say it's going to be in the later rounds, stoppage, Fury. I'm going to say 7th.
I'm going Fury round 6. I think he's living inside Wilder's head.
Yeah,
rent free.
What? I agree with Tyson Fury. He's got a loser training him in Malik Scott, who took a dive when Wilder hit him.
Yeah.
What can he learn him? You can send all these social media posts out that you want to put out there where they're dancing on logs or whatever they're doing. I don't know. I don't know if it's a scene out of a movie. They look very, very comfortable in each other's company. But no, he just hasn't got it. I think Fury's his kryptonite, and I think that's it. And then, obviously, when there's no one to beat Fury in the heavyweight division.
no, not right now. And you know what? He's already talking about, these are going to be his last couple of fights. He's already checking out up here. Fury wants to get this out of the way so he can go and enjoy his money and have fun.
All I would say though, Mike, is from your channel's perspective, I'm not sure why Graham's so keen on Wilder beating Fury. And I'm not sure why he brings it to the comments that Fury's made when Wilder's made a lot worse comments than Fury has.
Wilder has made some comments. They both made some comments. I just want to see it settle in the ring like it should be. Let's get this over with. Let's get this heavyweight division moving. That's what I like to say.
So
this we've been waiting for this fight for how long now? It's just time to get it over with. I'm excited to watch it. Carl, I hope you join me on this watch party. I'll probably end up fighting people that I'm with.
So, obviously, Andy, do you want to talk a bit about a couple of interviews that we got coming up without naming names? Drop a few hints while we got a couple of minutes, and then we'll call it a day.
I'll drop you a really big hint for the one we're just about to do in about 5 minutes' time. He has probably the best perspective of what it's like to fight Tyson Fury out of any American other than Wilder.
Excellent.
And that video will be dropping probably tomorrow as well. So I've got a busy day tomorrow. So yeah, and then
Is that the one we discussed earlier, Carl?
that will be dropping tomorrow, Michael.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm excited.
We've also, me and Andy are doing a bit of transatlantic time zone tonight. So we've got a real late interview with a legend of the sport. So that will be dropping probably before the Wilder fight as well. So busy.
Looking forward to it.
So if you haven't liked, comment, subscribe. Andy, thank you for your time. Did a good job for a B-side.
Yeah, not bad for a B-side player, eh, mate?
Not bad. Ray, cheers for your time. Obviously, I know you've got a lot on at the minute, so thank you for your time for the show. Reece, thanks for jumping on. It's been a short but sweet session. And Mike, I don't quite know what to say. Thank you very much for the North American perspective.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for the time, guys. I miss you guys, man. It's been a while. I'll have to jump on more often. You guys will have to come over anytime. I hope to see you, Carl, at 5 o'clock in the morning, your time, while we watch the Fury fight together.
We'll see. So, on that note,
yes,
that's it from the live shows this evening. Last Bell Boxing. Catch you all next Thursday, 9 p.m. Thank you.